afternoon. Nick Hamilton, TG Sports. Just look at this Dodger team overall, especially from a pitching aspect. What makes them so difficult and so challenging to go up against?
Well, they're very balanced. I mean, this is a group that's very intentional about how they're built, both sides of the baseball. Their lineup is clearly deep. They're looking right-handers, left-handers. Their bench is deep. They're pitching. Obviously Scherzer's going tomorrow, but they've got strong bullpen as well, righties, some lefties as well. Very intentional about how they're put together. The bullpen's going to look to get strikeouts. There are some walks out there, but no, it's a good, well-balanced ball club for sure. It's a reason why they're defending World Series champion and a perennial contender.
Claudia Gestro, DLP Los Angeles. Mike, first of all, congratulations to make it this far. How important has Yadier Molina been for the Cardinals, especially this year? How excited is he?
Well, thank you. Good to see you again. Yadi's, he's a pillar of our club. He's the El Lidre. He's a guy that is the rock and foundation for what we do on both sides of the baseball. He's, clearly been in this environment before. He trains and works, and this is what he plays for, we play for, and he sets a great tone for that. He's a guy that can help you win in a lot of different ways. I've said before, maybe the smartest baseball guy I've ever seen, regardless of role. He sees the game very well. He's a tough competitor. Like I said, very smart player, and enjoys these kind of moments.
What's the overall level of comfortability and mentality for the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a group we talked about earlier with our staff, and it's not anything we're going to do anything special. Obviously, it's a one-game deal, so preparation is just a skosh different. But our staff, our players, our group has been intentional about how we prepare from day one of spring training, and we've normalized what that looks like, and we're just excited to show up and go play.
Mike, to Katie's point, how pleased have you been with this last week where you guys have had it all kind of locked down here for basically week as of today, and you guys still managed to stay dialed in and play at the level that you have over this last week? Yeah,
that's kind of reiterates the point. Regardless of circumstance, we're looking to play the game the right way, be prepared for any and all situation, and go compete. And it was nice to be able to give some guys a little time off their feet and give some guys a little rest in the bullpen and set things up. But at every point, everybody continue to get after it and be ready for any and all situation, which we'll be ready for tomorrow as well.
Derek Gould, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, Mike. Long time, no time. You told us a lot through the years, going back years, that the goal is to get better through the game, through the week, through the month, through the season. How are you, as a team, better today than the last time you were at this ballpark?
Yeah, we want to be. We see continual improvement. Want to be better as the game goes, series goes, season goes. Best of getting better, and it's a mindset, a growth mindset. Really, it was interesting because right when this series ended here, it was a hard-fought series. Won the last one, a lot of good defensive plays, which is something that's been a staple of our team. But we also, Jack went out. Second to last game, rotation started getting flux a little bit. So from a pitching standpoint, we've been able to stabilize our starting pitching. We've also made additions. And in those stabilizations, obviously, Lester, Happ, no particular order. Got Miles back, Miles Michaelis. So those three guys were huge with the stalwart and the consistency of Waino, who's clearly going tomorrow. And then the bullpen, we had our back end of our bullpen, Cabrera and Gallegos and Reyes have all been good pretty much the whole season, and were outstanding without any margin for error in the first 2/3 of the season. But we've had an addition of Luis Garcia and McFarland, and they've done a fantastic job for us. So we've got more depth in that bullpen now. Cody Whitley's come on. Pitched really well. He's up and down through the season, a little bit of injury, a little bit of roster management. We've lost Helsley, which has hurt a little bit, but he's kind of picked up that spot. So, you know, that in that regard, we're different. From a position player standpoint, we started to get more healthy. You know, we didn't have a lot of our outfield together pretty much the whole first half of the season. You know, Bader, O'Neill dealing with certain things, Dylan a little bit here and there, but has been there most part for the season. DeYoung was in and out of the lineup, created opportunity for Sosa. Kiz has got more opportunity, did a nice job behind the plate, backing up Yadi. And, you know, look, we've done a nice job with Eddie and Goldie and Nolan, obviously, to be the stalwarts. So what I'm getting at a long way is we've really been able to make positive additions to our club, been able to get healthy and been able to play together, and that's one of the big reasons we made the push we made.
I think in September, the team learned a little bit about what was possible. I mean, we're very optimistic all year, but the quality of play or how crisp you play, do you think they wanted to push that by each day and say, well, if we can do this, then what else, how good can we be tomorrow?
I think we knew it was possible all along. I think a lot of us were probably frustrated based on what I said earlier about the inability to have our club together and have a lot of the, you know, try to plug in the different pieces. And candidly, I feel really good about the level we were able to do that. I know people at many points of the season, I mean, our first 2 months of the season, you know, we were leading our division. And, you know, so people say, oh, you know, you were first 4.5 months, where were you? Well, we were in a pretty good spot the first 2 months, you know, and then deluge of things happened. And quite candidly, I'm pretty pleased with how we were able to keep it together and how the guys continue to fight and scratch and claw to keep ourselves as relevant as we did. And then once we got to that point of consistency and health, you know, I don't think we had to prove anything to ourselves, but it was nice to have it together, and it was just a matter of playing, and I know we've enjoyed that.
Hey, Shildt, we've asked you a lot about different things that have clicked in the offense, but with Tommy Edman, we've seen guys at times hit kind of like a sophomore slump, and it can sometimes kind of just derail their season. He kind of hit it and then rebounded from it. How did he get through that? What did you observe, and also how he has fit into this offensive surge you guys have carried into the postseason?
He's been huge. You know, he's a little bit of a microcosm for our club, right? I mean, he started off the season, you looked up, we're in San Diego towards the second month of the season, and he's, you know, toward the league leaders in hits. We're getting a lot of national games. People are asking about is Tommy Edman the quietest, one of the best players in the league that people outside the industry don't know about, which I'd say yes to. Then he got into a little bit, especially from the left side, a little full conscious, a little getting around the baseball. You know, he was human a little bit. Tommy's very passionate, smart, feels what he does, made adjustments, put him down the lineup a little bit, started getting a stroke through the middle, using the whole field, still pulling the ball in the air with authority. Just got back to being Tommy, and you know, it's a guy we had a lot of confidence in because, candidly, in 2019 we made our push and won our division. Tommy and Gago's coming up were a big part of that, so we knew he's just a matter of time before he, you know, got back to being the kind of player he's capable of being, and you know, started setting the table again around August for the big boys, and here we are.
Fred Christian, Martin Kilcoyne, Fox, St. Louis. Mike, the bulk of your winning streak was on the road, and it kind of fits with an underdog status, a team that can't afford to lose any ground. If you're going to advance here, you're going to be primarily road team. Can you give me an idea of how does that kind of fit with where you guys were, like desperate and like whether you were home or road, you kind of had to have that mentality, we can't lose?
Yeah, I mean, we've got we just like to play. It's a group likes to play baseball, and we're prepared any and everywhere. We'll play in a parking lot. You know, you show up and tell us to play, we'll play. Play on the road. I mean, you know, I didn't even think about the fact that a lot of that was on the road, and it's some tougher places to play in. But that kind of speaks to the ability of this group to stay present, just go play, regardless of circumstance. And that's a great trait of a team and individual. Just go play regardless of circumstance. Home, road, you feel comfortable. Things are a little uncomfortable. You're a little banged up. You've got, you know, challenges. You just go play, stay together, and get after it regardless of where you play. And, you know, it's a good trait, you know, so we're excited to be able to play here tomorrow night.
And a quick follow-up. Do you guys take on an underdog when you're the last team in? Do you sense that you guys are in a, quote, underdog role, which is strange for this franchise?
I think we feel comfortable about what we can do, confident what we can do, and we're ready to play any and everybody. And I don't know that we see it as an underdog role or a favorite role. I think we just see it as an opportunity to go play baseball.
Mike, we've talked a lot this year about defense, a lot about base running, a lot of one game like this, but there's not really much margin for error. I mean, can you just describe the confidence and the stuff, the work you guys do in spring training to pay attention to these fine details that have you going into tomorrow where you don't have a game 2 to rely on?
Yeah, it's not as sexy a way of playing the game. It's a way that, you know, people can have their own view of what the game is today, old school, new school. I just want to play, you know, good, solid, fundamental baseball. It's common sense to me. You know, you don't know, one of the beautiful things about our game is, to your point, you don't know what's going to hinge on the game. And very holistic, again, common sense approach to it, for me at least, is let's try to be as good in every aspect of the game as possible. And the great news is, very blessed to have a group of players, our opinion leaders, you mentioned Yadier earlier, embodies that. When we got Goldie a couple years ago, I first initially talked to him on the phone to welcome, and it ended up being an hour conversation that morphed into base running and bunt plays. And I was like, okay, we got our kind of guy here. You know, we have a group of guys. We had Nolan, who's a baseball guy through and through, studies it, cares about it. It's just a bunch of players that are intentional about being good in every aspect of the game, and know that even the little things come up and can be a big thing, irrespective of situations. So we work on it. Feel like it's our jobs. The guys are professional about it, and it's been a strength of our club to be a very consistent defense and base running team. And it's still one of the things to Derek's question that, you know, as we go through and have moments where we don't have as much of our everyday rosters we'd like, we know we can count on these things to allow us to compete, and that's what it does, allows us to compete.
Sarah Wexler, MLB.com. Your opposing starter tomorrow, Max Scherzer, you caught him not too long ago on what was a very good day for him. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that you took away from that, and if perhaps there's an advantage in that as a learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy, I mean, you know, our guy's definitely a future Cardinal Hall of Famer, and could be a Hall of Famer himself in Wainwright. You know, some injuries have sidetracked him for a couple of years, didn't allow him to put some of the numbers, but you're talking about with Max, a guy that, you know, is a Hall of Fame pitcher, and it's a guy that has a lot of experiences. We were able to face him in 2019 in the championship series. We also seen him across the way in our complex, you know, and go play in spring training. And this year we drew him quite a bit in spring training when he was with Washington. You know, it's a guy that has been in the league a while, so we have experiences with him, including the one that you mentioned most recently. And you know, it's a guy we're familiar with and we have awareness of, and clearly he's got ability and really good competitor and with really good stuff. But we're looking forward to the challenge and the opportunity.
Mike, how similar do you think managing tomorrow would be to, say, Game 3 last year against the Padres, or Game 5 against the Braves? Is one game kind of...
I'll take Game 5 against the Braves first inning. I think both of them are different. I mean, obviously I alluded to the first games, thinking about how the games were going into those games. I mean, we were fortunate to get up to a really great start that game. It'd be wonderful to do that again. Game 3 last year against San Diego, we knew we were going to be in a little more of a bullpen mode earlier on. This year's a little different. We've got a well-rested Adam Wainwright, who is, I'd like to think, in consideration for Cy Young. You know, he's clearly been a huge reason why we're sitting here today. He's been an anchor for us for a lot of reasons, on the field, off the field. My point being is, in the game tomorrow, it's not like you know, we trust Waino. So we're going to trust and see how the game unfolds and evaluate it as it goes. Clearly navigate it based on what we see. But in those other two games, the games took different. But we went into last year's Game 3 knowing that we were likely to have to go in. You know, we had Jack going, who we have confidence in as well. And then we got down, and then we had to navigate the bullpen. Obviously, we want to play from the lead tomorrow and let Waino do his thing.
Any last questions for Mike Shildt? Sir.
Bill Plunk, the Orange County Register. What is Flaherty's status and your plans going into this?
Well, Bill, you know, we're most optimistic about the last outing for Jack. I mean, he's had two setbacks this year. One that took place here with his oblique that you know, at that point in time, he's on track. You know, first 2 months of the season, 9-1. definitely heading to an All-Star game, and definitely in consideration for Cy Young consideration. Missed 2.5 months, came back, and a little bit sore in his shoulder. Didn't want to push it, so the setback there. Has come back and thrown a couple times in games, and felt like his stuff was back in the last outing of the last day at home against Chicago. So we're confident that he feels good and his stuff looks crisp, but that's important. As far as how it'll be used, it'll be in the bullpen and it'll be fluid.
Mike, is Cavi full go for tomorrow as well?
Cavi's fine, yeah. I mean, he's had a situation, for those who don't know, he came out on the Friday game, the last series. He's got a somewhat recurring nail issue, nail split on him, so he's had that fixed, and he's had that multiple points in the season, and expect no limitations at all.